If you're a teenager in 2023, becoming a millionaire is very simple. I mean, most of you use your phones as distraction, endlessly scrolling TikTok, killing your brain cells and becoming slaves to the system. This means that not only does using your phone correctly gives you an advantage, but it actually puts others at a disadvantage. Okay then, but how do I use it? Well, that's a good question. In order to cash in, I put together 8 different tips that I use to spot opportunities. So tip number 1 is meditation. Nah, I'm just kidding, I'm not gonna make some boring ass video about meditation and journaling. Let's be real, that's not gonna make you a millionaire, but what will is step number 1. Realizing there's so much fucking money out there. You have to really understand this, because if you don't, the harsh reality is you're going nowhere. You'll be one of those middle-aged people that never made it, you know, the ones that blame everything on everyone for their misfortune. Oh, it's the government, oh, it's the blooming recession, it's my parents. That's dumb. You've gotta face up to what's going on instead of wasting your early years wrapped up in excuses. But that's not you and it's not me, so who it is? I know that money is everywhere. Believing there is so much money out there will really help you to focus on your goals and take responsibility for your own success. Just think, someone owns all of these buildings, and thinking like this can also allow you to celebrate the success of others and learn from their achievements, rather than feeling threatened by them. You really don't need to reinvent the wheel to get rich, all you need to do is position yourself somewhere money is flowing. Just think how crypto was a huge craze in 2021 and how many people made fortunes, not by investing in it, but by launching their own projects. They didn't create the technology of crypto, however, they did notice money pumping into the space and benefited from it. Sadly, most people don't realize that there's lots of money out there waiting to be claimed, and therefore will never spot these kinds of opportunities. They even feel like they have to be really lucky or come up with a completely new business idea. In reality, it's so much more simple than that. Successful people often just identify a business that has worked really well in the past and then add their own unique twist to it. For example, Uber. I mean, taxis have been around for years. It took Uber just to make it easier and cheaper for everyone to use it. Everything stems back to the core belief that money is everywhere, and once you let go of that idea that the money is scarce, everything changes. So step number 2. Don't focus on savings. This is the opposite to what many of these online gurus will tell you, but honestly most of them made their money the slow way. When online gurus talk about investing $50 per week from the age of 16 into the S&P 500 on average return on 7% per year, leading you to having over 1 million by the age of 65, and I think they believe this actually excites people. Well, it doesn't. Don't get me wrong, of course it's very important to start investing small amounts when you're young and not leaving it until the last minute. But ideally, this should be money you don't even notice leaving your bank account and not your lifelong plan to become a millionaire. Investing all of your baby money into the stock market or something you can control is the worst move that you can make, as it locks up all of your money for testing out side hustles and business ideas. Those are the real ways to make a big money. Now, having an emergency fund of 6 months living expenses doesn't take the edge off. It allows you to take calculated risk without worrying too much. So I'm not fully against savings, I'm just against hoarding cash, as I've never known anyone to make a lot of money in their younger years when they take this approach. The truth of this lies somewhere in the middle. Use the both fast and the slow lane. Don't be that guy who saves on a Starbucks coffee. If you put savings over small things that make your life more enjoyable, then you're giving your money too much power over you. But equally, don't go splashing your cash on pointless things and leave yourself with nothing to invest in your future. Pick what matters most to you and use your money strategically. Tip number 3. Quit drinking, my friend. Stop it. Quit it. Look, I get it. Drinking is almost a ritual, but if you follow what most people do, then you get what most people have, and that's nothing. I can tell you from experience, drinking is not that cool unless you have 10 grand to spend on a night, so you can do some crazy shit. But most people will never experience that. I know a lot of people will say they just want to have fun, and I get it, but first fix the money issue. Get as much of it as you can, and then you can drink as much as you want. But you'll probably find you still want to keep growing your wealth. Once you realize how much fun it is having money, the freedom it gives you, you'll unlock a whole new level to life. Drinking is just an expensive way to distract yourself from the bigger picture, whilst losing the time, and on top of that, how can you forget the best part? Feeling terrible the next day. What better way to hold you back from your dreams? Tip number 4. Buy a luxury watch. I always tell people, if you have 30-40 grand in your bank account, you might just buy a 10 grand watch. There are 3 main things a luxury watch can do for you. Firstly, it can spark conversations with other successful and wealthy individuals. This could lead to valuable networking opportunities and potential business partnerships. Secondly, many luxury watches are considered valuable assets that can appreciate over time. If you invest in a high quality watch, it could potentially provide a solid return on investment. As with any investment, it's important to do your research and choose a luxury watch that has a good chance of appreciating in value over time. As a general rule, still Rolex watches reliably hold or appreciate in value. Thirdly, they can be a great way to transport your wealth across borders. Now technically you do have to declare that you're bringing those into a different country, however, I bet majority of you don't do this. If you enter another country with cash, then they'll probably ask you some questions, but I'm willing to bet that if you enter the same country with $1 million worth of watches, they wouldn't even bother you. Just be careful where you wear these watches, as they're also very easy to steal. You have to learn to move in a different way. Don't get cocky and think you're untouchable, or someone will pull up on a motorbike with machete and take your watch. Even me, being the European kickboxing champion, 6 feet 3 tall, 200 pound beast, I'm very careful with my watches. Trust me, luxury watches are not something to be overlooked, and even if the price goes down, you will never really lose all of your money. Number 5. Destroy your ego. There are many arrogant people out there that think they know everything. They aren't interested in learning, even when someone more successful than them is spelling out the correct way of doing things. Take for example, I was offering this restaurant in need my software services to help them achieve their goals when it comes to their online presence. They were too stubborn to listen to me, and their situation kept getting worse, so I was like, whatever, do what you want. It's actually shocking how stubborn some people are. Of course, be proud of what you do, however, you need to be able to separate pride from your ego. Take some time to self-reflect, really go into depth of your weaknesses and form a strategic plan on how to improve them. There are thousands of YouTube videos where experts teach you what you need to know for free. For example, if communication is a weak spot, then there are videos on public speaking and storytelling that you can take full advantage of. Tip number 6. Build a credit score. If you haven't got a trust fund, then you're gonna need to leverage good debt in order to become a millionaire at a young age. And without a good credit score, it's gonna be near impossible. Borrowing money can be one of the best ways to elevate yourself past your born class status. Now, this isn't for everyone and takes a strong, clear mind to manage, but can work extremely well if done correctly. A credit score is basically a trust rating used by banks to judge the risk of lending you money. Think of it like this: if every time your mate lends you $5 and you give it back when or before you said you would, then there's much bigger chance that your mate's gonna lend you $100 if you ever need it because he can trust you. A good credit score is priceless. It will take years to build, but you can lose it in just one wrong move. By taking on debt responsibility and paying it off on time, you can build a positive credit history which can open up more opportunities for credit in the future. Now you might be thinking, where do you even begin? Well, start small, of course. At a young age, you can't just wander in bank and start borrowing cash. But you may already be paying bills that will count towards your credit rating, such as phone contract in your name. As soon as you turn 18, make sure to grab yourself a credit card. If that's gonna be a while, then you could become an authorized user on your parents' credit card. Either route you take, remember these 3 simple rules. First, make on-time payments. Paying your bills on time is the single most critical factor in building a good credit score. In short, don't be late. Second, keep your credit utilization low. Credit utilization is simply the amount of credit you are using compared to the amount you have available. As a tip, when starting out, stay below 30%. Essentially, don't spend it all. Thirdly, don't apply for too much credit. Remember, less is more. If you follow these rules, then you'll certainly be in a good position to start growing your wealth at a rapid rate. Tip number 7. Follow the money. In life, doing what you love won't always make you rich. While it's important to pursue what you love and enjoy, it's also essential to balance your passions with practicality. If you have a passion but don't think it will play out, flip the script. It's crucial to learn skills that are in demand. Identify industries and professions that are thriving and have a future, and invest time and effort in learning and skills that can help you succeed in those areas. Tip 8. Become a quitter. You need to get good at quitting or you'll never succeed. Imagine you're in the cinema and you've paid for your ticket and you sit down and watch the movie. About 10 minutes in, you realize that it's absolute trash. It's as boring that a 2-hour chat with your granddad about his childhood crash would be more stimulating. But instead of leaving and doing something else, you decide to stay and watch the whole thing because you feel like you've already paid and you don't want to waste your money. The money you paid for the ticket are already spent and it can't be refunded, so whether you stay for the whole movie or leave early, the money is gone. It will be better to cut your losses and leave early if you're not enjoying the movie rather than sticking around or wasting more time and energy on something you don't like just because you feel like you've already invested in it. The same thing can happen in other areas in life. Maybe you've invested a lot of time or effort into a project that isn't working out. You keep going just because you feel like you've already put in so much. Just like the movie ticket, the resources you've already invested are at sunk cost. You can't get them back. It's better to cut off your losses and move to something else rather than sticking around and wasting more resources on something that just isn't working. Let's be honest, making your first million is never going to be easy, but it can be simple. If you're young like me, use time to your advantage and thank me by subscribing and sharing this video with your schoolmates. The best advice I can give you right now if you want to succeed in life is to click here and discover more related videos.